Right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Charles Nyebeze, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development and Commercialization with the Center for Excellence in Mining Innovation. And we're based right here in Canada, out of Sudbury, Ontario. It gives me great pleasure to be hosting UAS Technology for Mineral Exploration by Rosor today. And our presenters are going to be Alex and John, and they will introduce themselves a bit more further shortly. Sorry. This presentation is going to be 30 minutes long in total, with 10 minutes for questions and answers. I want to ask that if you have any questions, that you submit your questions into the chat box, and we'll be able to answer your questions that way. I will be able to read them out and get them answered by John and Alex. After the post-webinar, after the presentation is done, we'll be sending you copies of the link to rewatch the webinar and also copies of the presentation. If we are unable to answer some questions, I guess if Alex and John are unable to answer some questions, those questions will be typed out and sent to you along with the webinar package. All right, so I'm going to now pass the presentation over to Alex and John. Go ahead, guys.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Excellent. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Alex Coutu. I'm the CEO of Rosor, and I'm joined by John Balatbit, our CMO. Thank you for coming to our webinar. We're very excited to talk to you about how UAS technology acquires data better, faster, and safer. These are the main topics that will be covered today: an introduction about our company, Rosor, and our partners, information on our data acquisition service in the mineral exploration space, what our UAS is and what the technology can offer, our steps to commercialization in the industry, and lastly, our final thoughts, followed by a Q&A. Our startup company, Rosor, is headquartered in Toronto, Ontario. We're Ryerson University affiliated and are partnered with 2 of their startup incubators for business development and engineering manufacturing. We've included links to their websites if you're interested in learning more about what they do. Our company mission is to improve operational performance by creating systems that build on autonomous capabilities. We're in the mineral exploration space and are introducing UAS tech into the data acquisition process, acquiring high quality data taken by sensors like LiDAR, infrared, photo cameras, magnetometers, and much more, with a specialty in long range. We also provide a full service team. We provide a full service team of experienced pilots and operators to complete all data acquisition for mineral exploration companies. These are industry partners, the Center for Excellence in Mining Innovation. They've helped us tremendously with our commercialization efforts. Our colleague here, Charles, has done a terrific job in getting us in front of the mining community and introducing us to companies and individuals like yourselves. To introduce our second partner here, TerraQuest, they're a well-established survey company since 1984. TerraQuest has conducted thousands of fixed-wing and helicopter magnetic, gamma, spectrometry, gravity, and electromagnetic surveys in the exploration for base and precious metals, along with kimberlites, hydrocarbons, uranium, and groundwater. Working alongside TerraQuest and SEMI, we're focused on building exposure for our company within the Canadian mining community and to connect with those that are interested in improving their company's mining operations. To get to what we do, right, our company improves operational performance by creating effective systems that build on autonomous capabilities. Therefore, we're here to improve data acquisition in the mineral exploration space to provide end users with higher quality data. As seen on the right side of the slide, we produce high quality photogrammetry and electromagnetic field maps. To do so, we use our unmanned aerial vehicles in combination with LiDAR, RGB cameras, magnetometers, and infrared sensors to capture the data. From our understanding of the market, we've identified areas of improvement within the mineral exploration phase of mining that we at Rosor can enact on. Traditional methods in the exploration to find new lucrative mining sites typically utilize manned aircraft like helicopters and airplanes that travel long distances and carry heavy sensors to investigate the Earth. However, these systems come with complications. Capturing high quality data means flying at lower levels, which imposes safety risks to the operators. Thus, the aircraft must be flown slowly, affecting turnaround times. Also, these types of aircraft utilize unsustainable fuel sources and, above all, limit the economies of scale for these exploration contracts, which leads to very low returns on investment in small land plot surveys. We are addressing this area of improvement with UAS technology, unmanned aerial systems that focus on safer operations, smart data acquisition, and sustainability. On the right here shows our unmanned aerial vehicle. However, behind the scenes include communication systems, ground control modules, operators, and much more that make up the entirety of the system itself. Now, let's address how UAS technology helps us acquire and provide you with high quality data in a way that is indeed better, faster, and safer. Our UAS tech includes lightweight and aerial vehicles that are compact in size. These aerial vehicles have the ability to take off and land vertically like a helicopter for better flight management, with no need for runways in its ascent or descent, but reap the benefits of long-range fixed-wing flight. Additionally, our system is capable of carrying equipment onto its body up to 6 kilograms in weight, with a range of 200 kilometers. The systems placed behind the scenes are what allow the aerial vehicles to achieve autonomous flight. It's able to automatically find the fastest route for its destination, contributing largely to its turnaround time. In addition, the autopilot's systems on board are able to maneuver much more accurately for grid surveys than a pilot's manual control. Finally, since there's no need to operate the vehicle from within, the risks that the operators are placed under are significantly reduced. One of the main risks that operators take when flying manned aircraft is flying at lower levels. They must fly slowly, and if flown lower and lower, risk gradually increases. Quality of data is assured, but at the cost of the operator's safety. With UAS technology, there's no need for an operator to be inside our aerial vehicles, completely removing this concern. The aerial vehicles are capable of flying at lower levels and maintaining its speed, and in our case, can maintain a cruise speed of 90 kilometers per hour. Additionally, its aerial vehicles can be operated using batteries instead of non-renewable energies like jet fuel. Our aerial vehicles are capable of covering, again, that 200-kilometer total distance under a single battery charge and are quickly hot swappable for further flights and further coverage. Along with our unique unmanned aerial systems comes our fully certified team of pilots and operators. Our pilots all come licensed with their remotely piloted aircraft systems, advanced operation certificates, and our operations managers design our flight protocol with Transport Canada's safety standards in mind. Each manager follows the specific operational risk assessment, aka SORA, process set out by Transport Canada in developing long-range flight plans. This all comes together to provide you and your mineral exploration needs the technology and team to service your airborne investigations safely and legally. Now I'll pass it over to John for our path to market.
Yes, thank you, Alex. Okay, so to reiterate, our UAS technology is flight ready, and we're waiting for it to be integrated with your desired applications. So this puts our system at a technological readiness level 6, where we're conducting prototype demonstrations in a simulated environment. So we are currently working with companies to integrate any of their desired sensors for their given applications. So for example, magnetometers for precious metal investigation. So we're looking to build on commercial scale applications as we progress on the TRL scale, and to then test through different operational environments and achieve market readiness by early next year. Okay, so we are reaching the end of our presentation. And so we want to highlight a few key points before we close. So Rosor is a newly incorporated startup company that provides high quality data using data collection mediums like LiDAR, magnetometers, infrared, and RGB cameras with our UAS technology. So we focus on acquiring data sustainably and safely, meanwhile, of course, improving quality and speed. And lastly, just as our last shout out here, our key partnerships with Ryerson, SEMI, and TerraQuest have enhanced our capability to engineer and service the unmanned aerial system that is right for you. So we just want to give them a special thank you to this presentation. Okay. And thank you for your time today. We'd love to connect with all of you after this session. This is the contact information for our outreach team. So please email us, check out our website, and as well as our LinkedIn page. So thank you again for coming to this webinar. And so at this time, we will be taking up your questions from the chat. Charles?
Thank you. Thank you very much, John and Alex, for that presentation. You certainly raised the level of awareness that the mining ecosystem has about the potential that is offered by UAS technology. Okay, so just taking some questions. We do have a question from Mark Goldie from the chat group here, and the question is: do you find your aircraft is more sensitive to windy conditions than, say, a quadcopter design?
So thank you, Mark, for your question. And it's very straightforward. Absolutely not. We have the advantage of having a more heavy vehicle sitting at around 25 kilograms with a full payload, which actually puts us at a grade 5 wind condition for maximum resistance. We actually are capable of operating up to 40 kilometers per hour winds, which relatively for drones is excellent and much less sensitive than quadcopters.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Alex. The next question we have here is from Tabo, and the question is, how is line of sight handled the 200-kilometer flight range?
So great question, and this gets into the core of the process that we operate with in our surveys. We are capable of operating on tiles. So depending on the separation in inline kilometers that we have within the mineral exploration survey, we can actually cover a standard, it's just under 50 kilometers squared within visual line of sight. So the 200-kilometer range covers most of that tile, right? And if those inline kilometers are separated enough, we actually also have a unique communication system that allows us to hand over the aircraft for an additional set of an additional distance to completely use that range at its fullest capability. So just to reiterate, we have the ability to hand over from one pilot to the next when there's a survey that's a little bit longer that utilizes that full 200 kilometers range.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that answer, Alex. Another question we have here is, are your operations approved for BVLOS?
So at this point in time, no, they're not, but that is not limiting to our system and this application. Because these land plot surveys are big enough and they have to be flown in a certain way, you actually don't need to go beyond visual line of sight for most cases within those smaller land plot surveys. But in the case where you do need to extend a little further, we operate in what's called extended visual line of sight, where we employ that same handover system going from one pilot to the next. We can do that from pilot A to pilot B to even pilot C if need be, but typically it's more from pilot A to B, only a single handover before that whole 200-kilometer range is actually reached.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer, Alex. Just as a follow-up question to the question on number of pilots, could you just maybe reiterate again on the number of pilots required to cover that broader range?
Yeah. So really, it's just 2 pilots in 90% of cases that are required to complete this. Now that's for extended visual line of sight. There are cases where you only need 1. It depends on the operation.
Excellent.
But
yeah. Okay. Thanks. Sorry about that. Thank you for
that's
that.
All right.
The other question here is, do you currently have capabilities to fly LiDAR? If so, what costs compared to existing commercial alternatives?
So great question. And yes, absolutely. We do have LiDAR capability. The costs really depend on whatever your operation is. I'd say we have a very competitive cost structure. And if you would like to learn more details, please do reach out to John at jblattbit@rosor.ca for any follow-up questions on more details.
Excellent. Another question here is from my fellow Mark, and the question is, what altitude above ground level can you typically fly over, say, forest?
So over forest, we hit our ceiling of 400 feet. We always operate below that. So it's sitting at approximately 120 meters. That's the altitude that we maintain in order to, at our maximum. But depending on the height of the trees, we can come down lower, right? Of course, based on the resolution of our sensor that we're using, there's different ways to go about actually flying it. If we want more coverage and less time in the air, then we'll fly higher. But if we want more detailed resolution using every last pixel, then we'll fly lower, almost even clipping those treetops. We want to really get as high resolution as possible. So there's a lot of different things that we can do.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer. Okay, another question here is from Lala. Thank you, Lala, for the question. The question is, how many batteries are you using, for example, for a 1-hour flight?
So we actually have 2 different battery systems because we have our quad plane design. One set of batteries is used for our pusher motor, right, which is used for most of the flight, and then another pack for the quad motors. Essentially, this one great big pack, think of like a Tesla super pack, would be one for the pusher motor, and then a smaller pack for the quad motors.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I have a question here from Sari. Thank you, Sari, for the question. The question is, does the body of the UAS contain composite materials that increase strength to weight ratio? The example here is it carbon nanostructures as an example?
Absolutely. We utilize carbon fiber, fiberglass, as well as even, come on, it's escaping me right now. It starts with a K. Anyways, yes, to answer the question, we do.
Awesome, thank you. I have another question here that I just got from the private chat, and the question is, at a typical mineral exploration company, who would you say is the target person you want to speak to?
Really, all of those companies that perform the data acquisition process itself. So there will be the mining company that actually sets out whatever contract out into the private market that they would like. Yep. Other mineral exploration and let's call them data acquisition companies, right, would bid on those contracts. It's those companies that we're looking to improve their process or even extend their capability with more diverse aerial systems.
Excellent. All right, thank you for that answer. Another question here from Mark. Mark, thank you for the question. The question is, when do you think you'll be in a position to start showing some data examples?
That's a great question. And early next year, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, I have another question here on private chat. I'll just get the hard questions on private chat. And the question here is, what is the cost to utilize your platform?
So really, it all depends on the operation. Again, I'm going to have to transfer you over to John. For any sort of details, we have to know more about the operation you're looking for, but all of our pricing is certainly competitive against the alternatives. So please do follow up with John on that.
Okay. John, I don't know, did you want to add something to that answer?
Yes, so on our website, if you scroll down on our website, we have a process on how we evaluate our pricing systems. Don't be confused by the last part, which is our contact page. It gives you info@rosor.ca. If you'd like to message me personally, I get back to my emails much faster. So we can definitely talk more in detail about pricing. We'll have if you'd like a discovery meeting, a one-on-one discussion about these kinds of things, we're obviously very open to that. But to Alex's point, it does depend on the type of service that we are providing you. So we just need more details about that afterwards.
Okay.
But thank you for your question.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer, Alex. Another question I have here from private chat is, oh, it's an interesting question. I guess the question here, I'm going to try and reword it because it's not written exactly as a question. But the question is, given that you're sort of, looking to deploy next year, right? So between now and next year, what are you looking for between now and next year?
Between now and next year, we're looking to consult with you on your application in order to build your ideal UAS system, right? And integrate our system and our process with your own to improve it as much as possible.
Gotcha. Okay, another question I have here is, you did mention sort of mineral processing, mineral exploration, sorry, not mineral processing, mineral exploration. And the question is, are you also open to working with other industries that may have a need for the UAS technology?
Absolutely. Agriculture, search and rescue. If you do have any specific applications in mind, we always have an open ear, definitely.
Okay, much for that. John, this is maybe a question that's coming from me now. John, you mentioned that you were at Tier L level 6 and that you wanted to maybe move up to that higher Tier L level. Is your company looking for any financial support to move you from where you are right now to the next place?
Yes. So in terms of our positioning with funding, right now we're working with industry associations like SEMI in terms of like their MICA program, but in terms of more so than just matching grants, we are looking to, of course, look through funding in terms of like loans from the Bank of Development of Canada. And of course, if there are other suggestions here from our participants today, please feel free to reach out to us as well. We're, of course, always open to discussing about in terms of how we can finance demonstration projects, demonstration projects. And of course, getting further to that, being able to progress from TRL 6 to essentially 9, right? It's going to take a lot of demonstration projects along the way, a lot of commercial scale applications. And so, of course, we want to entertain the discussion of financing as much as we can. So if any of our registrants have other opportunities for us to take on, we'd gladly want to hear about that after the webinar today.
Okay, excellent. And another question maybe here's to both of you, Alex and John, is, there are companies out there who are offering, technologies like drone technology for things like, building inspection or just, infrastructure inspection. And some of these companies, they sort of offer to train, employees of a company to then operate, the UAS, the drone technology for the purpose of these inspections and stuff like that. So with Rosor, are you looking to train companies to run the drone, the UAS platform themselves, or is it something that you plan to always sort of keep in-house for piloting your technology? Maybe just comment.
This is certainly something we're looking to keep more in-house, since we are going out to the different locations, performing the service, gathering the data. So if there is anyone interested in learning about how to become a pilot, manage operations, be a part of the movement, as we scale and expand our operations, this is certainly something we're looking for. And please do, again, reach out to John if you are interested in such a thing.
Awesome. All right. I'm not seeing any new questions coming up on the board here. Is there anything, maybe just some concluding remarks from either Alex or John that you'd like to make before we conclude our webinar?
Well, I want to just address back to one of our questions, which was what we're looking for from now until next year, because we did mention that we won't really be able to show you any kind of data sets until then. So really, the approach here that we're taking with our webinar and our partnership with SEMI, we just want to get to know those in this industry a lot better. The things that we've learned in terms of the new age of business is to be able to include the customer within the process. And that starts well before the actual product is made, of course. And so we want to be able to get your opinions, your suggestions, your industry experience on what the right product is for things like data acquisition using UAS technology. We want to know how your operations work, of course, be more, I would say, more mindful about the way that you handle your supply chain, so that we will be able to create a benefit for you in the end, of course. We don't want the UAS technology integration to, definitely we want to have you part of our process in terms of testing, like we mentioned, demonstration projects, commercial scale applications. We want you to be there, so then we know exactly how to implement that once we're market ready. So that's my last remark.
Right. Thank you for that. Alex, any closing remarks?
I think John pretty much hit the nail on the head. I have nothing to add to that other than I thank everyone for coming out. I appreciate everyone taking the time and really just listening to us. So thanks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, awesome. Okay, all right, then everybody, we will look forward to connecting with you offline. We will be sending you a copy of the presentation deck by email, and we will also be sending you a link to the recording so you can rewatch it at a better time for yourself. And looking forward to hosting you again on another event hosted by SEMI. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.